as we are in the season of Lent at St. James, continuing with our program of how we experience the divine and particularly how we do so through the arts. I'm very pleased to be able to welcome Michael Stauffer, who is not just a parishioner here at St. James. Doesn't just come with a wealth of experience from your time at Weekwood, among other places, but also is the chairperson of our Arts Council here at St. James. Really coming from a time of identifying that the arts have a special role to play in our intersection with the divine in our lives and helping us figure out how we as a cathedral can really live into that. So Michael, we can thank the work you and the Arts Council are doing, and we're very pleased to have you here as one of the speakers in this series. That's great. Everyone, please welcome.
And it's wonderful to be part of this series. I think the idea of taking an entire month of adult forums and dedicating it to the arts, how we have become and are becoming and will continue to become an essential part of the experience of St. James, the worship experience, the ministries of St. James. We've got a group in the Arts Council of 24 on our committee right now, meeting regularly once a month. So if some of you in this group are interested in finding out more about that, I would be more than happy to talk to you about that when we're finished. But I do want to get started today. A couple of questions that I think are kind of important and pertinent to the topic that Stephen gave me to think about in preparation and then to talk about with you today. What good are the arts? What good are the arts beyond elitist leisure time activity, beyond that soft jazz that you put on, as you pour yourself a drink at the end of a busy week at this point? What do they do for us? Stephen asked me to explore the connection, the relationship between arts and contemplation. Contemplation is a major thrust and focus during our time of Lent. Does contemplation affect our lives any other time than at Lent? Can it? Should it? I hope so, but that's what we're going to talk about. What is the value of contemplation? Where is that going to take us? How is it different from a kind of seemingly mindless daydreaming? Just another distraction. I think a lot of people don't really understand even the definition of contemplation. So that's one of the things I'm going to talk about this morning before we try to figure out some way to apply that to our lives, our disciplines, and the practice of faith that we are trying to invest in. So, first of all, as an artist of faith, I'd like to take a few moments to suggest an alternative. First, I think we need to acknowledge the need for alternative. Are you perfectly happy with your lives the way they are? Or do we need to consider the possibility of contemplative practice to expand on what that life of faith is really about? Arts offers an alternative way of experiencing our lives, of being. The arts present and facilitate a vehicle for contemplation. They're going to take us someplace. Contemplation is a necessary step for considering who we are and what our relationship is to the world around us and to our God. Contemplation is a discipline of faith. It's not something that just happens to us. It's a choice. It's a conscious choice to change and to consider an alternative way of being. Contemplation is a practice. It's something that we have to do over and over again. It's not a one-time occurrence. Something that we must commit to because we value the potential results. Worship, where we're going to go when we finish this session this morning, is a time of contemplation, consider. Prayer, which is a huge part of the worship experience, but also our normal everyday existence, is a practice of contemplation. It's something we choose to do. The arts can provide a means to transport us from the frantic pace and chaos of the day and help us to breathe. We don't do that nearly enough. Breathe into a recognition of the presence of the divine in our lives. It offers us time to ask, what if? I could sit with, what if? If I ask everybody to do one activity, just sit there, let your arms drop, relax a little bit, and just take one good deep breath. Good. That certainly helped me. That's what I need to share. So thank you for indulging me. And then I'll be good. Slowing down is an essential choice. And slowing down, we're able to notice our lives. To notice brings a person into the moment, physically, emotionally, and perceptually. The arts can help facilitate that moment. To behold, we hear that often in church. God uses that command at least 150 times this week. What does it mean to behold? It's certainly not a word that we use frequently in our daily conversations. In John 1:29, John the Baptist exhorts those by the river to behold the Lamb of God, signifying his role as a sacrificial figure who would take away the sins of the world. In Psalm 27:4, we are asked to behold the beauty of the world. It's the ultimate truth that we are seeking and is represented in that concept. When Jesus says, behold, he's urging his followers to pay attention, to take notice, to stop and see something significant or important that might otherwise be missed. It's a call that often signifies a call to a deeper spiritual awareness. Understand. To behold for a Christian is to look to God, to observe, comprehend his will, his ways. It's a time to pause. To contemplate, perhaps remember what it means to be true, what we know to be true. It means we have a choice to follow God's leading to be good. Are we going to follow his leading to be good? Or are we not? It's a personal choice. It represents the responsibility that we have as part of our Christian walk. Beholding is not just something that happens to us. It's a discipline of the heart. Artists, this is the beginning of time, have used their imagination to explore the spiritual dimension of their lives. To better understand what it means to be fully human. In her book, Becoming by Beholding, Lent Davis suggests that Christians are unconsciously formed by the stories, the images, and spaces that they inhabit. If there is a degree of truth to this thought, then we are who we are based on what our focus is. Through the imaginative experiences and encounters created by artists, we can reimagine our understanding of God and the nature and reality that we have within. These encounters is another. Encounters can be facilitated through the exploration of poets, writers, painters, musicians, and dancers, and architects, and theater makers, to name a few. These encounters can create rich moments of resonance. There's a difference. We're choosing to participate, we're standing back and observing. That's a choice. That's the volition of choice. This engagement with art as a maker and participant creates resonance that takes us simultaneously beyond the work and then back into the world that we will journey. Those of you that were with us last week, when Matt talked about the icons, he encouraged us to spend time with individual images, not just look at the piece, but to go beyond the surface of the piece, to engage with it, to see it deeply. This resonance is recognized as a kind of vibration. So we take a tuning fork and strike it, let it ring out. This resonance is felt in the depth of our being, not just a cerebral response, but one that we recognize here in the soul, in the heart. We notice this resonance with unexpected tear, with a quickening of the heart, with a simple response, or yes, and. It implies that it's a special meaning, a connection to your life and your experiences. It rings with something you know to be true, even unwittingly. Truth resonates. Resonance is recognized as a way of knowing. Contemplation comes from sitting with the experience, being with it, not trying to make it more than it is, but sitting with it to know it even more. Asking yourself, what does it mean? Simply sends you back into your head. We're trying to find a way of knowing that is deeper and stronger. One will recognize the depths of our soul. Contemplation is a state of being where we are responding more with the soul than with the brain. We'll discover that the soul is the seat of knowing. Contemplation enables us to embrace the mystery of our faith, an experience that goes beyond just cognition. To recognize this resonance, you must be present. You must be here in the moment, not lost in the thought-related pressures of the day. What's going to happen next? What are you going to do tomorrow? You must give yourself permission to be where you are for the moment. In that still, small moment, we can begin to sense God's Spirit working within us. I'm here. Arriving at this moment is a choice. Only then are these vibrations, the resonance occur. You must choose to attempt to affirm and be ready to receive. There must be an openness to be affected, influenced, and moved. Arts can prepare the way. They can move you gently out of a cerebral control to a softer, more pliable way. In these moments of vulnerability, we may be more ready to receive the truth that He has in store for us. In this way, we're preparing ourselves for a potential transformation. Something is going to happen. Something we are being called to something outside ourselves that we may have hoped for, but not necessarily expected at the moment. This is the great recognition of all that we have been longing for. This is the true nature of the worship experience. There's a quiet time of preparation. We walk into the cathedral. There's music playing. There's the atmosphere of the space. This slowly becomes other that we had just left behind. It is the prayers that begin to create a spiritual dialogue and encourages that willing suspension of disbelief. The transport has begun. It is the anticipation, heightened by the use of the arts, the processional, the pageantry of the music, the incense, the attempt to make the invisible visible, that the arts are calling us to. The vibrations begin because we are ready to receive them. In the lesson, Lisa and Stephen are not necessarily presenting ideas that are they are rather trying to help us remember what we already know to be true. This resonates. We are in the presence of truth. In the Eucharist, we are able to participate in the ultimate theatrical event, the feast of our Lord. Then, as we take our final breath, the blessing, we go out. We have been transformed during this time and strengthened in the resolve of our faith because of our choices to participate in this contemplative event. It is this inevitable moment beyond words that is the essence of all. What if? What if? These moments of contemplation enable us to embrace the mystery of our faith. All of the arts have come together. The music, the lights, the movement, the costumes, the symbols, the images, the architecture, the poetry, the story, to create an experience that is clearly other during the worship experience. Good worship is good being. The worship experience has taken us somewhere other, and we have been transformed and brought back better to the journey. Creating intentional sacred space is an essential ingredient of this experience. The intentional design of the space really does make a difference. It is not just a random collection of pieces of building construction. It is an intentional choice. And a wonderful exhibit called The Prayer of the Architectural Prayer, which I would really love to see of St. James. The architects transformed the soaring language of Psalm 46:7. How priceless is your unfailing love, O Lord. People take refuge in the shadow of your wings. Early concept sketches reveal exquisite attention paid to the geometry of birds in flight inside this church. The chapel was constructed, and in the next slide, the Church of the Penitent Thief. The chapel was constructed by inmates at a local penitentiary, serving out the end of their services, developing skills that would help them to be successful when they leave that experience. The simple shape and volume is marked by a continuous plaque from floor to ceiling, stitched together by a singular figure of Christ suspended in the cross. It's not just another building. It is about something. It's intentional. In the next moment, I want you to take just a moment to breathe and experience if you bring that up for us. This piece was recorded with M.F.A playing Bach at the opening of the Notre Dame.
YouTube's on mute.
Take another. Here we witness the incomparable power of the cellist, world renowned, and the soaring evocative architecture of the cathedral reborn. Notice the elements of worship that add to this moment of contemplation. The scale, the color, the shape, the light, and also the sound. It's not just focusing on what to see, but how we should feel or might feel about what this experience is about. As you watch this, as you experience this, and when I talk about art, I try to get away from what are you watching at this point? What are some of the things you experienced that you just noted physically while you were experiencing this? We're going to get a little beyond just a picture on the screen. Openness. Yes.
Peace.
Okay. Yes.
Peace.
Peace. Yes. Good. It wasn't just that. So thank you for that comment. It's when I'm watching this, it's not just about the cellist, which is absolutely incredible. It's about the majesty of the space and how one reinforces the other. The light in this is pretty magnificent. They're not just turning the switch on and turning the switch off. It helps us focus on Him in that vast cathedral for our attention, and then takes us back into the height of the arches for what that spiritual experience is. we're not talking about allowing yourself to simply be in the moment, to let yourself be, not asking yourself. I didn't ask those questions before we started, because if I asked those questions before I played this, you would be like, what am I supposed to think about? My students would say, what does Michael want my answer to be? Okay. And you've completely given up on what I was really hoping that experience would be. I encourage you to go back and look at this again. So many wonderful opening experiences at the rebirth of this incredible piece of architecture. For those of you that watched it burn, it's a necessary experience to go back and watch the rebirth. Next, I have a very good friend who's a painter. Joel Sheasley has committed his life, his entire professional career, to developing an eye to see and to paint. And we all know that it takes a discipline of the entire body and spirit to really succeed. After retiring from teaching painting at Reed College, Joel spends much of his time in nature. This is his subject. It's that developing that kind of high vow. For him, the experience of painting in nature is one of deep contemplation. Joel suggests about his painting, my project has been to learn the land, to feel it under my feet, and sense how it spreads out around me. A big part of this project has required that I learn to see beneath architecture, agriculture, industrial and urban development that can otherwise render the landscape of northeastern Illinois like a poem that points away from itself to show a greater vision of life. A nature preserve helps us imagine the larger world in which our small lives find a place. The places that we can call home. Both nature preserves and landscape paintings give us a glimpse into something that we all long for, a world in which our fragmented experience finds a sense of wholeness. We seek that wholeness in the contemplative walks in the forest, because the landscape quietly brings the fragmented quality of our lives into resonance with the longevity and coherence of the natural world. Joel's work is about himself. He is intentional in his exploration of God's vast gift to us. It's not mindless wandering in the woods. As an artist, he returns better for the journey. As a viewer, we are asked to go with him, to contemplate the deeper spiritual experience he is trying to connect us with. And in return, better for the journey. As an artist of faith, I believe that the work I committed to for over 40 years was holy. It was holy work because its purpose was holy. Focusing the willing participant on the sacred and the divine. As an artist, I made theater that was committed to a deeper way of knowing what it means to be deeply human, striving to live in communion with the spiritual dimension that is found in the encounter and engagement with God through the work of the Holy Spirit. The plays I did at Reed were not always pretty. They often tended to explore life as it really was, rather than as we would like it to be. But they were honest. The beauty was found in the truth of the story, and the experiences we found together in rehearsal and in the performances when we invited the audience to join us. The last play I did at Reed College, called My Name is Asher Lab, based on the novel by M.F.A. In it, Asher, a young Jewish artist, is faced with a challenge of being honest in his exploration of life as it is, while painting life in pretty pictures, as his mother believes he should do, because that's what the world needs more. Beauty is experienced as one encounters truth. Asher found that quest of an artist to create the moments of truth through beauty. In this encounter with truth, one resonates with a sense of deeper knowing, deep in the soul, the seat. This is when Asher says, I began not only to work, but to see, to truly see. That is who we are as artists. That is who we must be as Christians. The viewer, the audience, the parishioner is invited to participate in this moment of contemplation. The worship experience, the music experience, the play, the painting, the poetry. We are asked to participate not just to listen, not just to look, but to see, to experience, to resonate with that moment. But it takes a choice to go there and be there. In accepting the invitation to move into this moment of contemplation, we can resonate with a deeper spiritual sense and come back better to the journey. The artist, art, encourages us to ask, what if? This is what we are trying to do as the Arts Council of St. James. We are committed to supporting the artists in this community and developing our sensitivity and our expertise. And we are working to expand that vision to greater congregation. I want to read our mission statement because I think it really captures, I hope it captures, that's the very good thing. I hope it captures what it is I was talking about this morning. The Arts Council of St. James seeks to inspire, engage, and connect with the community through the transported power of the arts. Through these efforts, we aim to foster dialogue, promote cultural understanding, and provide a sacred space where art and faith intersect into the nature of the soul and uplift the community to the glory of God. That's the divine mission as far as I'm concerned. It's a huge responsibility. But we are working to accept that and find ways to practice that in St. James. So, we have a few minutes left. Responses to some of the ideas at this point. Sometimes when I ask the questions, I get this sort of blank stare that I'm supposed to ask. Am I talking about things that you recognize that you experience? Any moment of resonance for you this morning? Yes?
In your view, what do you think the most important
The willingness to know. I would say you've got to make a choice. You've got to make a choice to practice this at this point before it can even become this. Practicing it and then saying, this is an important part of my life. This is how I know deeply. This is how I connect with God and experience of the divine. And before I can do that, I can't share it with anybody else. So just go.
But for me, one of the resonances was just the term resonance. And I think it's helpful for me to have that as a category because I'm one of the folks, for those who haven't met me, I'm Lisa, I'm one of the priests here on staff, I'm the dean of the Cathedral, and I was first a professional harpist. And so for 15 years in my earlier life, and so I've always found a Venn diagram that has the arts and God a big chunk in my life. And so I found that for me, there was a journey that took me into the current vocation I'm in now. But I still find this big swinging door, for me, that is the arts that helps me access the sense of God. So I appreciate and I'm going to ask you for your notes, because I actually want to read them again, because I was just being in them, and so many nuggets really resonated for me. I will feed back to you, just reflect back to you that one of the clergy conferences I went to probably 15 years ago with Michael Curry, the famous preacher Michael Curry, was just, and I will never forget what he said, and you actually said it in a different way as well, but you said, what I need preachers to understand is that you are, sometimes your job is to proclaim, not explain. Proclaim, not explain. And it's very easy for preachers to fall into the trap of, oh my God, how am I going to have people make sense of this? And you do your history, and you kind of set the context, and you tell them, and you can get into trying to explain. And today's gospel is a great example. It's the gospel of the prodigal son. And you can really fall into a trap of trying to explain to everybody what you call it. So proclaim, not explain, and I think adding your resonance to that, because sometimes when you just state or remind people, as you said, remind them what they've heard, and remind them of the resonance points that they need. That's
Here's what I think about the idea of explaining, because my prejudice, a lot of what I talked about this morning are my own prejudices, so they are what they are. An artist does not explain. An artist explores. And there's a big difference.
So yeah, I want to add something really quick. What I caught on early books read before, how we're going to take what we do and engage or through all these, it's a whole new discipline.
Oh, thank you all for coming. It's great to have you, I would say have conversation. We didn't actually have a conversation, but I felt like I could feel you responding to some of the things I was saying, so I felt like in looking at you, I was having a bit of a conversation as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.